Welcome back to Fangs and Forums, where the vibes are weird and the shadows have opinions, and where birthdays don't always go as planned. First up, one woman just wanted to have a fun birthday getaway, and instead found herself on a cosmic roller coaster full of whispers, warnings, and moments that changed her life forever. Meanwhile, a little girl thought the figures outside her door were mom and dad, but unless they grew 7 feet tall and forgot how to blink, probably not. Let's get slightly terrified, but in a fun way.
I'll start by saying this isn't the first time I've experienced something paranormal. I actually posted on this forum about the first time something spooky happened to me. But this one, oh boy. So, the first event took place on my birthday. I had this stoner friend who did drugs all the time, and he gave me a hardcore LSD square. I, being a complete idiot, thought it'd make a great birthday, so I just put the whole thing on my tongue. Started sucking on it like it was prime Angelina Jolie's lips. My friend starts telling me that I'd have to wait about an hour for it to start kicking in, and explains what the trip might feel like. As he's telling me all this crap, I start feeling like my stomach's being drilled. The room I was in immediately shrank, and it felt like it was going to choke me. I tell him about it, and he says, "Oh shit. It's probably kicking in already because it's your first time and you took the whole goddamn thing." So we get out of the apartment and sit in a garden outside the building. It must have been around 8 p.m. by then. While I'm sitting there, everything that had a texture became alive, and it was really nice. The walls with tiny rocks on them, plants, all of it. My friend also put on some music and I was enjoying it a lot. Little did I know. At this point, I start seeing people bursting in. Flames? It was like a fire or something flowing from within each person I saw, but it was different for everybody. Some people would come up to me, and I'd start having trouble breathing, while others had this beautiful, soothing light coming from them that calmed my nerves. I was super sensitive at that moment. What was kinda funny, I found hilarious. And whatever I disliked, I really hated. This is the moment that changed my life. My friend and I started walking to a little bar to get a couple of beers. He stopped along the way to greet a dude, and I swear I could read his thoughts. I knew what he wanted to say before he said it, and then he actually did. I started getting nervous, but I expressed it with complete and utter silence. When we arrived at the bar, I started hearing voices. They repeated old conversations I had heard when I was a little kid and completely forgot about. Like me being 2 years old, hearing my mom talk to a neighbor about God and how she felt abandoned in this world. Every word, every sentence. Hundreds of forgotten conversations flooded my head, and I would know exactly when and why they had happened. Amid this madness, I noticed a pattern. All of the memories were conversations that discredited God in one way or another. But as soon as I became aware of that, I started feeling like I was being pulled from my own body, forcefully. I started freaking out, but my friend literally left me sitting there alone because he went to do coke in the bathroom. But what do you mean by being pulled from your own body, you may ask? Well, let me put it this way, you are your personality, right? Your thoughts, feelings, memories, dreams, your soul. That's what I felt was being taken from me. The more I felt I wasn't in control, the more I felt I was losing my mind. Like going crazy, never to return to myself ever again. Upon that realization, everything became visual. I saw a literal bunch of figures all around the bar. Some were sitting next to people just having a good time. Others were vibing and singing loudly to Viva la Vida by Coldplay. These figures were all black, and the only thing I could make out were their glowing red eyes. But just before I completely lost it, I heard another voice, but it wasn't in my head. It came from within me. Leave this place. Something bad is about to happen. You don't belong here, my son. In perfect Spanish, which is my native language. That voice obliterated every other voice I was hearing. I immediately stopped feeling what I had described earlier. My friend had just come back, and I grabbed him by the shirt. I told him, "Something bad is about to happen. Let's get the heck out of here." He goes, "Nah man, you're horror tripping." I knew this was going to freaking happen. And just as he's yapping along, we hear people screaming, and a flying bottle passes right between us and crashes against the wall behind us. A huge fight broke out because some drunk, dangerous people happened to be there. My friend crapped his pants, and we ran out of the bar. On our way to his house, he asked how I knew that would happen. Meanwhile, my brain was just malfunctioning. Way too much to take in. I didn't understand anything that had just happened. Eventually, I came down from the trip, and things became clear. I wasn't high. I've been high all my life, and for the first time, I was lucid. I saw, I heard, and I felt it. God is real. And I had felt Him for the first time in my life. It couldn't be anything else, I just knew. A week passed. I was in my room and decided to get on my knees and pray to God. I said that if He was really listening, I wanted Him to send me someone who could teach me how to look for Him, how to connect with Him. And if He did, I would never walk away from Him. The next day, around 6 p.m., I heard someone knocking on my door. I went to check, and it was a neighbor I had seen before, but never really talked to. "Hi neighbor! God bless you. I'm just stopping by to invite you to a Bible reading at my house." He gave the house number and street. "It's the first Bible reading of many, so I hope you join us. There'll be snacks." My eyes watered instantly, and I said yes. It's been a little over a year since then, and although I'm still not a very religious person, I do have a relationship with God now. I can 100% affirm that my heart has changed a lot. I'm still flawed in many ways, but I'm a completely different person now, and I live a very different life from the one I used to. God is as real as the computer or phone you're using to read this, and He wants you to turn to Him. He loves you in a way you'll never be able to love anyone else. This was a very personal experience, as you can imagine, and I've been trying to get it off my chest for a while. You know, give my testimony. Take it or leave it. It's the same for me. It's out. Stay off drugs, especially LSD and other hard stuff. May God bless you all.
Amen to that. You know, I would expect someone that went on the trip that had that breakthrough to actually recommend LSD, because technically it saved their life. But I digress. Moving on to the second story.
When I was younger, probably around 6, I had a horrible fear of the dark. I had a bad habit of running straight into my parents' room at night as soon as they had gone to bed. Once the light from downstairs stopped spilling through the crack under my bedroom door, I would get scared. Eventually, I decided, with some encouragement from my parents, to break the habit. The compromise? My bed was turned to face the door, and it always had to be cracked open. My parents were more than happy to agree if it meant they would finally get a full night's sleep. The first couple of nights went by fine, and I fell asleep all on my own. Then, suddenly, on the third or fourth night, I woke up to someone standing in the cracked open doorway. It was a looming shadow, tall and taking up most of the space. But strangely, I did not feel scared or upset. Thinking it was my dad, I called out to the figure, but there was no answer. I figured I had caught him checking on me and that he had stayed quiet because he did not want to wake me up. So I went right back to sleep. This continued every night for weeks. Sometimes, there was even a second, slightly shorter figure who I assumed was my mom. I never felt unsafe, but eventually I got irritated that they felt the need to check on me so often, especially since they already did so every night before bed. I brought it up to them. In the indignant way only an annoyed 6-year-old girl can, only to be told that they had never done that. Ever. At the time, I did not believe them, thinking they were just trying to stop me from being annoyed. But even now, 13 years later, they still swear up and down that it was not them. The people at my door never answered when I called out to them, so I am inclined to believe they were telling the truth. The visits continued even after that conversation, and I eventually just learned to ignore them. My sister and I now refer to them as the shadow people. I believe they were there to protect me and help me stop fearing the dark. Whether it was actually my parents or not, those figures helped me stay in my room and feel safe at night. My only question is, if it was not my parents, who were the shadows watching over me? And why? I do not think I will ever truly know.
And that wraps up tonight's tales. Remember, not all trips come with baggage and not all shadows stay outside your door. If your birthday party includes mysterious figures and offering cryptic advice, maybe just blow out the candles and run. And if something's lurking in the hallway, just yell "Dad" and hope it answers. Hit that like button if you survived this long in the dark and subscribe for more unsettling facts. And as always, I will catch you in the forums.